Phantom Menace was released in 1999, and it was very anticipated, to say the least. Then it came out, and everyone reacted with an overwhelming, that was okay. More than a decade later, people consider it to be the worst movie of all time. Some people, not me! The film was like a sexual assault for some, and it was handled as such. At first, everyone was in denial. Everyone was like, the pod race was cool, Liam Neeson was cool, Darth Maul's lightsaber was cool, and everyone ignored all the bad stuff.
Hello, Daddy Big Boss Nass, Your Honor.
Next, everyone became angry and ripped the movie to shit. Everyone became depressed and felt empty inside. And then finally, everyone came to accept it. It's fine. It's over now. They had the next Star Wars film to look forward to. And then the same thing happened again. Twice. Now, before I'm forced to read the script he wrote for me, there are some genuinely good things about this movie. The music by Hans Zimmer's good. I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like Darth Maul and his lightsaber. And that's it. The movie starts off with a bang. It starts with trade negotiations, which is really what everyone wants to see in a Star Wars film. Star Wars is now a political thriller, which is great, because before we had, all the space adventure stuff, but now Star Wars wants to go in a different direction. And much like The Empire Strikes Back, it's not concerned with doing the same thing again and again and again. This time, it's doing something different. By making Star Wars a political thriller, it now appeals to everyone who saw these movies as a kid and has now grown up. We open on a giant spaceship, and the effects are gorgeous. The designs of the ships, the designs of the characters are all very unique and interesting. How unique is it to have a creature in this universe whose words don't match up with his lips?
I knew it. They're here to force a settlement.
I would never think of that. Then Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn sit down in a room and wait for the other people, but then the Jedi are attacked, and this is when the action begins. This is a great way to start a film because we go from the more philosophical, political, and economic turmoil that's going on in the galaxy to action and adventure. But it all has context. It's all in the context of this political thriller that George Lucas is trying to make. What, did you just want the movie to start on an exciting, breathtaking scene on a world that we've never seen before? Fuck you. You're an asshole. So instead of rigging the silver C-3PO to blow up, or poisoning their drinks, the bad guys decide to poison them with gas. This is because Star Wars was way ahead of its time. Many people may say this is stupid, but George Lucas is actually trying to make a political statement. George Lucas is actually providing commentary on the Vietnam War. Much like how the bad guys in Phantom Menace used gas to poison the Jedi, the US used Agent Orange to poison the Vietnamese. So this film is much deeper and more intricate than you actually thought, you fucking asshole.
Dioxis. Don't breathe this!
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn are locked in there, being poisoned by the gas. Then Qui-Gon Jinn takes out his lightsaber and begins cutting a hole in the door. There are a few problems with this scene. If the bad guys wanted to attack the Jedi, why wouldn't they take their lightsabers away? Usually when you enter a facility owned by someone else, they take your weapons away to make sure that you don't attack anyone. So why wouldn't the bad guys just take their weapons away? Because the bad guys also knew they were going to kill the Jedi. Of course, people have pointed this out before, but what they don't point out is that George Lucas is once again making another political statement. This is a commentary on how we didn't do thorough background checks before 9/11. So this film is so ahead of its time, it was able to predict 9/11 and foreshadowed the Department of Homeland Security before it even existed. How did George Lucas know this? Because he's a genius. Another brilliant thing about this film is how it's able to tie all the other films together. We are introduced to Anakin, and we find out he built C-3PO, which is a genius move on George Lucas's part. Because not only are Anakin, Luke, and Leia connected by blood, but so is C-3PO. It was destined for Anakin to build him, and then many years later, he just happens to be on the ship where Leia was kidnapped, with R2-D2, who they also meet in this film. The Phantom Menace not only provides lots of social, political, and economic commentary, but it also has religious themes and subtext. Take, for instance, this scene.
Are you an angel?
What?
An angel. I heard the deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe. They live on the moons of Viego, I think.
It is established that Padme is a figure of importance, of power. She has control. And Anakin is just a young boy with a heart full of hope. Padme steers Anakin into believing angels and the Force. But are those things really real? Or is it that Padme is lying to Anakin, manipulating him to believe in magic? Is it that God is really real? Or is it that people with power and money want us to believe these things so they can control us? This is a bold statement for George Lucas to make in a religious world such as ours, because we learn the Force isn't a magical thing. It isn't this spectacular thing. It's actually all explained through science. But the masses shouldn't know these things. Otherwise, the Jedi Order would fall apart. So they make young Anakin and all these other Jedis believe that the Force is just this voodoo magic bullshit. That is why George Lucas specifically put this scene in there.
I need a midichlorian count.
The reading is off the chart. Over 20,000.
Even Master Yoda doesn't have a midichlorian count that high.
It gives a scientific explanation to the Force, which kind of ruins the whole series. Which is brilliant on George Lucas's part, because while there is a scientific explanation to the Force, it's actually a statement on religion, because this scientific information isn't shared with the masses. Because hiding the truth preserves order. That is the statement George Lucas is making with this film. Then we get to this scene, and for whatever reason, the midichlorians don't work on this guy.
Credits will do fine.
No, they won't! What, you think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that? I'm a Toydarian. My tricks don't work on me. Only money.
Why? Is it bad writing? No. George Lucas is actually making another political statement. What does this town remind you of? The Middle East? See, take a look at this scene. Imagine that Qui-Gon Jinn represents the US, and Watto represents a Muslim extremist. The US, who is Catholic, tries to manipulate Watto with its religious beliefs, but Watto is unfazed by it because he is a Muslim, and he has grown up under a different culture. That is the brilliant statement George Lucas is trying to make. The US cannot control the Muslims like we thought we could, and so we negotiate, or worse, we torture. So Phantom Menace also manages to be a statement on waterboarding.
This is so wizard.
Finally, the biggest thing, the most brilliant thing about this film, that everyone seems to ignore. Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, Goberfish.
People say Jar Jar Binks is loud, annoying, irritating, racist. But is he? Yeah. But he is for a reason. Jar Jar Binks represents something much greater. America. You can say that Jar Jar Binks ruined Star Wars, but really, we ruined Star Wars. Americans flock to big, loud, stupid, epic blockbusters like Transformers. We don't care about content or story or plot. We just care about trivial things like special effects and dumb, crass humor. And that's what Jar Jar is. Jar Jar is us. Loud, annoying, immature, and just flat out stupid. You can say George Lucas wanted that character in there to appeal to kids, so he can make toys, so he can make money. But if we did not buy those toys in the first place, would he have created Jar Jar? Was that good?